Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my opinions on A Silent Voice by Yoshitoki Oima. I read all the 7 volumes of the manga as well as watched the film that is available on Netflix, but I like the manga a lot more compared to the movie because the manga was a bit more immersive compared to the movie, and I think the movie did not flow as well as the manga did. Before getting into the review, I just have one question to you guys. If you do read manga, where do you read manga from online? Because I'm looking for some non-pirated free sources to read manga from. Currently, I'm using the Manga Plus app and I'm reading manga from the Prime Reading subscription alone. Apart from that, I don't read from any other sources. I specifically want non-pirated free sources to read manga from alone. So if you have any options for them, please do let them in the comments below. It will be very useful for me. So without any more further ado, let's get into the video right away. I'm going to keep this review totally spoiler free so that anyone who's not read the manga or watched the movie can also watch it completely and decide whether it is something for you or not. Here we follow our two main characters, Shoya and Shoko, both of whom are 12-year-old children, and of these the female lead of our story, Shoko, has a hearing disability because of which she cannot hear anything at all. She makes use of this hearing aid, but even with that she cannot hear everything completely. When she is brought into this new school and admitted as a student, she is being bullied by all the other kids in her class because of her hearing disability, and the child who heads all the other children in bullying her is Shoya, who's our male lead inside the story. The bullying gets so much out of hand that it almost turns into kind of a harassment, and because of all the things that happen inside the first volume of the manga, Shoko is transferred from that school to another school, and after that happens, Shoya is completely shunned by all the other students inside his class, even though they also took part in the bullying. Since he's the person who instigated it and kind of tried to bring everyone inside the same bullying thing, he's the person who's considered to be the only bully, and he's kind of isolated from the class as a whole. All these happen when both of them are 12 years old, and after 5 years from all these have happened and Shoko is transferred to a different school, Shoya kind of gets into a redemption arc, and he's trying to redo all the mistakes that he did in the past, and he's also trying to own all of them together. So he goes and finds Shoko, and whether they are able to form a friendship between each other is the actual plot of this series as a whole. Even though the bullying happened 5 years back, all of those things have traumatized Shoko and made her lose some of her self-worth, and she herself has started seeing herself as a burden for the people whom she is around, and that has also deeply affected her as a person. Basically, I can say that while you start reading the story, you will not be able to like Shoya at all because he's just shown as this very insolent, irresponsible brat. At the same time, you will fall in love with Shoko because she's just shown as such a kind-hearted, lovely kid to whom very horrible things are happening in life. I personally think that no one has to go through any kind of thing like that, even though they are a nice person, but the way in which the author showed her as an original character and not like a stereotypical person who just stands up for every wrong that they are being put through. I'm sure that all of us know people who are going through horrible things in their lives, but they don't stand against them because they don't want to make it worse. At the same time, they might also have this lack of self-worth, which they think that all the problems that are happening to them is because of themselves and not just because of the actions of others. That thing was very beautifully portrayed by Shoko's character in this one, and the way in which Shoya is trying to realize all the past mistakes that he's done and trying to also correct the wrongs that he did in the past in the present, keeping in mind that he cannot be forgiven for all the things that he did in the past, was also really well done. Even though the main plot of the series revolves around Shoya and Shoko, there are also so many other side characters whom we focus on that add multiple different layers for the story. Most of the side characters whom we focus on are the kids who are in the same class as Shoya and Shoko when they were 12 years old, and what are all the things that have happened to them in the past 5 years, and also the reasons behind why they also got into bullying Shoko and getting her out of the school. But even when she was transferred from their school, all the blame was diverted towards Shoya, and the reason behind why they did so is also properly and beautifully shown by the author in this one. It's like super realistic in its tone that it feels like a story like this can actually really happen in our everyday life, because there are kids who are going through bullying each and every day. That was really well shown by the author in this one. Apart from kids whom we see in the same class as Shoya and Shoko, there is also one other very important character inside the story, who is Shoko's younger sister Yuzuru. If you ask me, if not for Yuzuru, Shoko could not have been kept even to the extent of safety that she had for the past years. Yuzuru is basically just a very young kid who's like 5 to 6 years younger than Shoko, but she always is very protective of her sister because she knows that because of the nature of her sister, who does not fight back against all the bad things that are being done to her, she will go through a lot of bad things in her life. And not to just protect her, she always puts herself in front of her sister and tries to take everything that comes in the way of her sister. I have said this one thing many times in the past, that I love a very good sibling dynamic in any kind of story. Let it be books or let it be TV shows or movies. If there's a really good sibling dynamic present inside the story, I will completely love it. And that was the same case in this one also. More than any other sibling bond that we see here, the sisterhood that we see between Shoko and Yuzuru was the best if you ask me. Yuzuru is shown as a kind of character who does not try to change the nature of her sibling. She understands her completely well, and she also takes her own stance and decisions in order to protect her sister no matter what happens. If the nature of Shoko is to just glide through life with a smile no matter what happens, Yuzuru's nature is to put up a fight and defend everything that comes in her way in order to bring her down in life. And while taking care of herself, she also takes care of her sister, which was very beautifully shown by the author. There is also this very interesting kind of friendship that develops between Yuzuru and Shoya at a particular instant inside the story, and that is also very realistically dealt by the author and executed pretty well. While talking about all such good things, I also want to talk about the trigger warnings inside the series. There are many trigger warnings like bullying especially, and apart from that there is teenage depression, which is just clearly shown to us in the most purest form possible. There are also some trigger warnings for self-harm, suicidal thoughts, suicide, and also general physical violence as a whole inside the story. The author does not shy away from showing us all the things that are actually happening in everyday life for some people out there in the world, and by putting them into focus on paper and showing them as a realistic story for us, I think the author has achieved the thing that they have tried to do. You might think that I said that this is a spoiler free review, but I'm talking about very specific things. But trust me, I have not given away any spoilers at all. You can definitely go forward and read the series or watch the movie, because I have not spoiled anything for you except telling about the outline of the primary plot of the story. There are so many things which happen under there, and I'm sure that you'll be able to enjoy each and everything and also try and experience what these characters are going through while you're reading the manga more than watching the movie. Personally, I think the movie just excluded a lot of crucial elements from the manga which were necessary for some character developments. Especially Shoko's backstory that is shown to us in the manga is totally cut off inside the movie, and I don't understand the reason why at all. But as a whole, it was a nice movie, but I don't think it was as good as the manga was. So my personal preference is that if you want to consume this story as a whole, go forward and read the manga first, and after that move on to the movie and then watch it. I'm just sad that I don't own this manga physically as a whole, because I just borrowed it from a friend and read it from their copies. But I should say I had a really good time reading this, and it was definitely a superb experience. So yeah, that's it for my review of A Silent Voice by Yoshitoki Oima. And don't forget to leave your opinions of the manga or the film if you watched or read the series before in the comments below, so that we can discuss a lot more. And if you did find this video useful in some way or the other, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. And if you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.